Hey mates, and welcome to More Meets Eyes. I'm your host Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about Legacy Evolution Skyquake. This is a figure I've been wanting to talk about for a bit, a long bit, but he kept sitting in the background as I kept getting new figures, and of course, we were covering the newest and the greatest, and so Skyquake just kind of got set off to the side, but I've been wanting to talk about Skyquake for a while, and Skyquake, by the way, is a twin. He has an exact duplicate twin named Dreadwing, who's different colors, apparently. But the interesting thing is they're the same exact mold, but for some reason, Dreadwing will cost you 3 times as much as Skyquake. So if you want the Dreadwing transformation, and you don't want to pay the Dreadwing prices, Skyquake currently is I believe he was a leader class, and he's going on sale for like $30. So you can pick yourself up a Skyquake at a reasonable price. And I am excited to bring it to you today to let you know about how good this Transformer is and how you shouldn't have been sleeping on him for so long if you have been. This is a great mold, and today we're going to go in depth. We're going to talk about its pros and its cons from the blind perspective. And of course, we're going to do the normal thing. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a transformation video where I'll explain to you step by step from the blind perspective how to transform this Transformer from robot mode into vehicle mode. And then the day after that, on Friday, we will be discussing the vehicle mode for this Transformer and talking about the pros and the cons of this particular vehicle mode and how really neat it is. So, sit down, relax, and get prepared, because this is going to be 3 days of Skyquake. I'm excited. This is a fun figure. I don't know anything about Skyquake from the shows or anything. Skyquake wasn't really that it wasn't a Transformer that I knew much about in my days of watching Transformers and stuff like that. I stopped at Energon. I went to college and life just took over, and I didn't touch Transformers again for almost 20 years. So this is it's exciting to be able to talk about a Transformer that I don't know anything about, like, other than the fact that his twin is named Dreadwing, and him and his twin work together pretty well. I thought it was anyway. So let's start talking about this guy in depth. I like to discuss things, starting from the bottom and working my way up. And the first thing I want to talk about with this guy is the biggest con with him. He is a very top-heavy action figure. He has all this stuff on his back. Look at this. He's got this huge backpack that's a bunch of wings and other pieces that are all folded in and snapped together to give him a really nice backpack and a really cool, silhouette. But he doesn't have good heels. The only heel he's got is this engine for his vehicle mode, and that's his heels. He's got little boots. And the thing is, though, is that there needed to be kind of something flaring out from the edges of this so that he doesn't fall backwards. He likes to fall backwards. He likes to fall backwards. He likes to fall backwards. You gotta be careful about that and coming down here to his feet and pull those bits out just slightly. And then he won't fall backwards as much. It is odd that it doesn't take much to stop him from falling backwards. It's literally just like 2 degrees difference between his heels that make him fall backwards and not fall backwards. It's wild how close that is. So that's the biggest negative I wanted to talk about with you and him, because after this, there's not going to be that many cons to this guy. That's the biggest con is the lack of heels, and you know what? That's a common negative for Transformers. I appreciate the fact that we're getting better heels these days, but I do wish that they would focus more on that. Like, it's cool. This guy's cool, but it does ruin him when you have to set him up against a wall to stop him from falling backwards. All right, we've discussed the feet enough. He's got a slight ankle tilt due to his armor stuff on the sides of his leg. That ankle tilt can't go as far as it could. Coming up here, he's got a he's got a double jointed knee, It's a difficult double jointed knee, but it is a double jointed knee, and it does pull a good distance. Look at that. That is a nice. That's nice. That is definitely more than 90. That's for sure. He kicks forwards at about a 90. He can kick backwards at about a 90. He can kick sideways at about a 90. The neat thing is that his waist, his hip joints are all ratcheted. The side is ratcheted, the front is ratchet, the back is ratchet. That's good stuff, especially with the fact that many of the Siege Leader class characters, like Ultra Magnus, didn't have a side ratchet. So if you're not careful with your Ultra Magnus from Siege, he can just split on you in an instant. So I appreciate the fact that this thing is locked down tight, and that is really good. He does also, let's see, does he have a swivel? He's got a bit of a swivel up here at the thigh, but it's not 360 degrees. It just kind of moves around, and that's partly because of transformation. But he can't wiggle it, he can shift his leg really far to the left and really far to the right. So if you want to do a Tommy from Rugrats, you can actually twist both of his legs so that his toes are pointing at each other. It's just fun. So that's his articulation for his legs. Now, when it comes to the textures and the feel of his legs, we've got some really good stuff going on here. I really like this bulbous armor on the side. I like the sleekness of the armor that he's got. You get some lines, you get edges, but it's smooth, it's sleek, because he's supposed to be an aircraft. So it just works really well. And then you come up here to the thigh, and you get this thigh that's all right. It's big, it's huge, it like flares out on the sides. Like, this guy's got some, he's got some thunder thighs. It works very well for him. I love this. And there's vents. There's vents on the thigh. I really appreciate that. I am a lover of it whenever they actually spend time to give us some really cool sculpt work in the thighs. That's always a bonus, because it is an overlooked part of Transformers. Now we come over here to the groin area. He's got another big old vent in his groin area. And interestingly enough, due to his transformation, his groin doesn't fall flat downwards. It actually bends backwards a bit. So it kind of gives him more of a chicken look, because he's got that area moves downwards. It's interesting how they did that. Now we move up here to his core. He's got a waist rotation, but it doesn't give him really 360 because of his backpack, but it is enough. It's enough of a waist rotation. Now his core area is really interesting, because a lot of these textures are actually hidden in the vehicle mode. You got this, he's got really cool vent action going on here for his ab area. That's really nice. I love these thick, big vents that make up his abs. That's fun. And then for his chest area, we have something that feels like it's a giant gemstone that goes across his chest. It's just smooth and sleek, and in my mind, I have this kind of an amber color or something like that. It just seems like it is a gem that he's got put in his chest area, and that is cool. That's a unique texture that I haven't come across before. It's just this one big texture for the chest area, and I like it. I think it just kind of, where everything has these smooth, sleek feeling textures, but there's ridges and there's vents and there's little armor plates. Here in the chest, it's all just smooth. Like I said, the best example I can give is a gemstone with how it feels. So that is a really nice texture. I like how it just kind of surprises you during the transformation, where when you pull the wings apart, this is revealed underneath them. That's kind of cool. Now we come over here to his head, and his head is really, really neat. He's got this big, huge vent on his forehead. He's got this huge helmet, and then you feel down here towards his face, and it feels like maybe he's got a face mask. It kind of feels like everything below his face is just one big face mask that goes across, leaving him room for eyes. Kind of makes me feel like it's a knight's helm or something like that, with a big old crest at the top of it. And he's got two little ears sticking out on either side. The head can rotate 360 degrees. He can look up very far. He can look down okay, but I like the fact that he can look up, so you can actually have him doing, a flying pose. He can just fly. There it goes. Yeah, he can fly. Shooting his gun in front of him. It's kind of cool. So coming down to his arms, we got these really fun shoulder pauldrons. I love it whenever we get really big honking shoulder pauldrons. This one's even got like little, it's got some winglets sticking out the sides. Makes me think of blades. Like this guy, feels like he was trying to emulate Shredder from TMNT with these two hooks on his, the bladed things on his shoulder pauldrons. It's just nice. And it feels great. And I like the fact that the shoulder pauldron can move around, allowing you some free access for the arms. It doesn't get in the way, and you can actually kind of move it around and position it how you will. And I love that ability of customization. The shoulder pauldron isn't directly attached to the arm. You can make it do other things, and that is fun. You can even raise them both up really high if you wanted to. That's cool. I like that. We come over here to the arms. The arms can pull, moving the shoulder pauldron up. The arms can pull 360. They have a ratchet for the upwards motion. Downwards motion is a ratchet. And then it has a butterfly where it can move forward really, really far. So be aware of that. This guy's range of motion in his arms is pretty big. He just dropped his gun, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to really make you understand exactly how crazy awesome this arm articulation is. Now, yeah, it doesn't really hold steady because of the transformation. So the way you really stabilize this arm is by pulling the shoulder pauldron down, and that gives it a little more stability. Now, the upper arm has a big blocky shoulder, big old square shoulder, and then his bicep area has a couple of textures, but it's not really much. We come down here to his other, his forearm area. Now, his forearm's got this huge armor plates all around it. It's just clunky and wide, and it feels like, this arm of his can take hits. He's a bruiser. And let me come over here to the hand. The hand can rotate a little bit, and the hand, of course, is slightly open. And that's going to allow for, well, actually, no, this hand isn't slightly open. The other one is slightly open. And that's going to allow for the blade to fit in. But that is his arms. Not too bad. I like the textures. I really do like these textures. It all comes together quite nicely. We get a lot of nice things going on here. We come around here to the backpack, and this backpack is just obscene. There's a lot happening in this backpack. We got these big old wings spreading out on either side. We've got his little rocket pack that's folded down so he can shoot off. He's got, when he flies, he's got this little rocket on his back, and then his two rockets in his feet. So he just kind of pulls an Iron Man with a jetpack. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And I like the textures. Like they didn't have to do this, but I appreciate that they do, because these are hidden in vehicle mode, because this piece actually rotates around, and so all these vents that are on the underside and this really nice feel, this nice texture, is all hidden in vehicle mode, and that's one of the things I really appreciate about this figure, is how much is hidden in vehicle mode and how much is revealed in robot mode. He blends very nicely. Now, he comes with two accessories, but they're kind of just one accessory. So we're going to pull this sword out of his hand. Now, here's another one of the cons for him. This little sword in his hand has a ridge on the side that makes it where, even though it's a 5mm port, or a peg, it can't fit into other characters' hands unless they have a slight opening at their fingertips, which will allow this little piece of rectangular plastic that sticks out the side to slide in there between the fingertips. You can't put it in anything else's hand, and it has to go like that. It's the biggest annoyance for this figure, next to the heels, because you would like to give this little cool sword to other Transformers to wield, but they really can't. And will you stop trying to fall backwards? Oh my god. Lean forward. Lean forwards. There you go. Who's a good Skyquake? You're a good Skyquake. Now stop falling backwards. All right, now let's talk about his weapons. So you get this really neat little sword, and you can fold his sword up into itself. And then you get this huge chain gun, which is reminiscent of like an A-10 Warthog kind of large chain gun. It's ridiculously huge. But this little sword thing actually fits into a gap at the top of the gun. And so you can store his sword in his gun. And that is really neat. That is something exciting. I really love it whenever accessory storage is this unique. I really do enjoy it whenever you can attach accessories together. It stops you from losing them. And that's really nice, especially since I'm blind. I really appreciate it whenever I don't have to lose an accessory. That's why I like the G.I. Joes that come with the ability to carry everything they come with, because I lose things. Out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Nuts! So, we'll finish up today's video by doing some little quick size comparisons with him and a couple of Transformers. I don't have many today for size comparisons. I just have this guy here, Alpha Trion, and I keep his backpack keeps falling off, his little jetpack thing. So we're gonna straighten Alpha Trion up and straighten Alpha Trion up. There you go, Mr. Alpha Trion, and put them side to side. We get that. No, Alpha Trion's definitely shorter than this guy, and we're gonna put them there. Alpha Trion's head let's see, his little spikes at the top of his head go pretty far, but lower your arms, sir. I need to get closer to Skyquake, and here we go. All right, now the top of his head goes to the top, the bottom of the chin for Skyquake. These guys are definitely different size categories. Though, interestingly enough, they weigh similar. They almost, Skyquake is definitely heavier than Alpha Trion, but Skyquake is just barely heavier than Alpha Trion, as my hands can tell. So we're going to sit Alpha Trion there, and we're going to bring out 86 Megatron, because I wanted to showcase Megatron and how different 86 Megatron is. So we're going to move your hand away like that. Okay, we're going to make it where you can stand up straight, and you and Skyquake are going to match each other, and you are taller than Skyquake. By a bit, too. By 2 Lego studs taller than Skyquake at the head. Now we're going to situate you, twist your arm again so your sword isn't in the way, and set them up next to each other, and their shoulders are on the same plane. Yeah, their shoulders are on the same plane. It's cool. Weight-wise, these guys, Skyquake is definitely the lighter one in comparison to Megatron. Megatron is heavy in comparison to Skyquake. But Megatron and Skyquake both are similar in size, but Megatron definitely is the taller bot. Even at his shoulders are a little taller than Skyquake's shoulders. And that's nice. I really do like 86 Megatron. He makes me very happy. And this Skyquake is a good transformer for the robot mode. And tomorrow we will be discussing its transformation. But I will leave you today with the final grade for robot mode. And I think this robot mode deserves an A-. This is an A- robot mode for sure, and it has to do with the fact that there's the heel problem. I mean, if he didn't have the heel problem, he'd be a lot better, and if they didn't have so much kibble back here that weighed him back, if they had found a way to better even out the weight, where the weight on the legs and the weight up here at the top were evenly distributed, this would be it'd get a higher grade. But for the most part, it's an A-. And for a transformer that you can constantly find on sale for $20 less than he was on the shelf, that's not bad. Now, as we've been starting to do on this channel, we're going to end every episode with giving Kream a treat because he's such a nice cat. He's been sleeping over here, not getting in the way, not bothering things, and that cat deserves a treat. Oh, and he immediately is up. Yeah. You like some treats? Here's a treat. Who's a good Kream? Who's a good Kream? Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Please tune in next Prime where I'll be teaching you how to transform him. Until then, bye-bye for now.